Welcome to the Black Appalachian Coalition's podcast entitled Black Remembering, where we will bring to you the heavy and the hope across the Ohio River Valley. We want to remember who we are, where we've come from. We want to speak to the oral history of what we've done, what we've achieved. We want to speak to the ills that we have experienced while also finding solutions to those problems, those issues. We want to deal with the narrative that has kept us deeply rooted in despair. Now we want to punch through that narrative and stand up and say, we are remembering our Black past, and we are rooted, and we are here to stay. Welcome to Black Remembering. We hope that you find your place, your space, and your voice in this podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Black Remembering podcast, where we highlight the heavy and the hope. My name is Nita Jade, and I'm joined today by Stephanie Hickling Beckman, Asheville's own theater guru. Among a million other roles, Stephanie is an actress, a stage manager, a director, and the co-director of Different Strokes Performing Arts Collective, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to making theater accessible, equitable, and a unifying space for Asheville's community. Thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It was so good to see you and your family. What was that, like last week?
Yeah, a week ago this past Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, that lit me up. So that's something that made me smile recently. What's something that has made you smile recently?
Let's see, many things, but as a matter of fact, that night that you saw us at the concert, it was watching my son watch the concert because it's the first one he'd ever gone to, and he started playing trombone about 6 months ago. So to see him see Trombone Shorty and light up and just be mesmerized by this live performance was really beautiful. It made me smile a lot.
I love that. And no shade to the opening act, but Trombone Shorty was the reason why we were all here.
Yes.
It was amazing. Exactly. All right, so what are you looking forward to in your near or distant future?
In my near future, I've got a show opening on the 6th, and it's a compilation of original pieces by Black and queer playwrights. So really excited to see that go up. This is the second year we've done it in a row.
Would you tell us more about your upcoming show?
It's called 369, as in 369, damn you fine. 369 Monologue and Short Play Festival. And what I like about this festival more than any other work that we do is that I am able to find original works and put the money directly in the hands of the writers instead of going through a third party. And I know they're necessary for some things, but when we talk about paying our artists what they should be paid, I want to put the money in their hands without having a middleman to worry about.
I love that.
We've got 15 pieces. So they're 15 pieces, 12 actors, and no 2 nights over the course of 3 weekends is the same. So every single performance night is different than the last one because I've mixed and matched the monologues and the short plays so that we get to see all of them at least 3 times, I believe.
Okay, so that is June 6th?
June 6th through the 23rd, yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna cop a ticket. Anyone who's listening, if y'all catch this episode beforehand, then definitely copy yourself a ticket as well. We will link Different Strokes website in our show notes. But according to the website, Different Strokes is committed to making theater, building community, facilitating awareness, and changing the world one play at a time.
Yes.
Y'all are motivated by the belief that the arts are capable of bridging cultural and social gaps, and you work to increase and sustain opportunities for diversity within the Western North Carolina performing arts community and present works that confront issues of social diversity in a provocative way.
Why is it important to you to create a space like Different Strokes?
Because when I initially moved to Asheville back in 97, those places did not exist. And as someone who wanted to perform and wanted to, I guess, who mainly wanted to perform at that time, trying to find those opportunities was not easy. As a matter of fact, was a huge struggle. So we started Different Strokes so that we would have that for any other Black identified actors in particular to find their way onto the stage.
Hmm. So you've created this space time and again, year after year, for different Black people and people of color in the region. I remember back in high school, you directed From Ashes to Angels Dust, A Journey Through Womanhood by Zoe Flowers. That is still one of the most important plays I've been a part of. And I recall that I'm not sure if there was much pushback with the playwright, but I recall that you made a space for me even in that play to write my own poem, and to contribute it to the script. So I just wanted to give a quick thank you for that. Because I know if you're advocating for me in one play, then I know you're advocating for so many other people in all these different productions.
Yes.
And I heard you mention that you moved to Asheville in 97. So where are you originally from?
Atlanta.
Ooh.
Hell yes. Specifically, I was raised in the SWATs and then left there, went to Kansas City for a while with my family, and then came back and I lived in Stone Mountain after I got back. So I got a little bit bougie when I got back.
Did you notice any differences in like the physical or the social environments of Atlanta versus Kansas City versus Asheville?
So I'll say Kansas City and Asheville are very, very similar. And by very, very similar, I mean very, very white. Atlanta, as we know, was not. When I lived there, it was 75% Black at the time. There's been a little bit, I guess it's a little bit less now, but still it's Black. It's blackity black, black, black. Atlanta is always going to be Black. Asheville is very white. Not many Black people live here. A lot have been moving here lately, but our native Ashevilleans tend to want to get up out of here as soon as they graduate high school or college. So it's not growing in diversity. When I moved here, it was, I think, 19% maybe. We are at 9. Between 9 and 12 is what I hear. So yeah, it's not getting any better. So as a matter of fact, we've started now with Different Strokes. It's very difficult. I'm on a path now where I just want to do work on the main stage written by Black playwrights. So it's been really difficult to find the actors to do that work. But we have been blessed with a grant, which allows us to hire and house actors of color for the productions that we have. So that's been really helpful.
Congratulations on the grant.
Yeah, that was a blessing, a huge, huge blessing. To have a grant that's specifically for the thing that I want to do it's beautiful.
Yeah. You brought up the percentages of the Black population in Nashville going from 19% to 9%. I had no idea. I just knew that, whenever I come back, whenever I'm with my mom and we go through the city, the neighborhoods that she grew up in, she'll be like, oh, I don't know what that is. I don't recognize this anymore.
Yeah.
And even like the River Arts District is beautiful and also very, very whitewashed. And the dividing line is amazing. Like if you go past Grange, you're back in the hood and it's wild. But I admire that Different Strokes is being more intentional and specific with the voices that you're promoting on stage. Like especially now when like so many people are acting like being specific is a bad thing or making space for Black voices is a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. And thank y'all so much for doing that.
I that's my responsibility, not just to our artists that are coming up, but I have to think about my son too. And I want him to see me promoting us so that he knows how important it is to promote us, because so often you see kids his age in particular that want to tell you that racism doesn't exist or that we have the same opportunities as everyone else. We have the same opportunities as everyone else when we make those opportunities. Those are not given to us or granted to us by any means.
Right, right. And there's such a huge difference between like opportunity and accessibility, and
Yes.
it's not the same. But okay, I feel the FUBU energy up in here. I'm here for it. All right, so I have recently reconnected with my pseudo poetry father, and he's been bragging on you. I heard that you are one of the most beloved voices on Old Guys of Appalachia. So will you tell us about your character and your character's heritage on Old Guys of Appalachia?
My character is Granny Marigold Underwood. She doesn't like to be called Granny, so we're going to say Marigold Underwood because she likens Granny to the old white witches who are not necessarily good people. So, born and raised in the Appalachian Mountains, Granny Underwood practices magic that is for us by us, which you have to appreciate. She, for me, in doing the voice, I model her after a mixture of my mother and my grandmother, who don't take anything off of anybody and will stand flat-footed in front of you and speak her mind, tell you what
That's
she
right.
means and means what she says. And that's Granny Underwood for you. She does not play. The Underwood family is very well known in the Green or the Appalachian Mountains and pretty much stands up for people who can't stand up for themselves, which I think is pretty powerful given where they live, because it doesn't seem to be many Black people in the Appalachian Mountains that stick around, but Granny and her family have stuck around. So you have to appreciate that. I enjoy voicing her because I get an opportunity to pay some homage to my mom and my grandmother. So
Oh,
that's really beautiful. And I love it when I come out on stage and the audience loses their minds. I never thought that a podcast would equal that. A podcast, you think about, is just something you listen to, but the fact that when we're on tour, that people pay to come and see us read these beautiful lines that Steve has written. So I love it. It's one of the best things in my life right now. And I would give up being on stage to do this podcast for the rest of my life. I love it.
wow, 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 wow. That just made my chest swell up as you were talking, as you were describing Marigold Underwood. Like that swelled something inside. So why do you mentioned like that this was one of the only, if not the only, Black family in the mountains. What's the importance of this Black family storyline?
It's representation matters. I think that's the biggest thing. And there are Black families from the Appalachian Mountains. Like I said, they just don't stick around very much, but there are families that are still there and that have grown up there and that people know very well. So the Underwoods are just representative of that, so that the Black folks who listen to the podcast don't walk away saying, well, this isn't for us, because I think there are stories in there that we can all relate to. So it's very important to have that representation on the podcast. And
Yes.
Steve does a great job of it. He has cultural advisors. I mean, he'll ask us before we record anything, he'll ask us how that feels, how that sounds. Does that feel authentic or not? So I appreciate the work that they put into that.
Yes, yes. Steve is diligent and I
Yes,
admire him so much. It's hard to be responsible with that platform, and he is doing an amazing job.
he is.
And I agree with you that the visibility and the representation matters. Like a lot of people, I think like the original definition of Appalachia was like white people in the mountains. Like,
Yes.
like we've been here, we've been out here.
We've been out here trying to get y'all to notice.
Right, right. So you mentioned representation matters, and I was being nosy and looking on Different Strokes website, and that rings a bell for the theme or the title of this past season, the 2023-2024 season.
Mm-hmm.
The title was Representation Still Matters.
Mm-hmm.
So could you tell us a bit about this season and how, if it's going to continue into next season, and the plays that made the cut?
Okay. 22, 23 was Representation Matters. 23, 24 is Representation Still Matters. It's because it's ongoing. For me, 22, 23 began somewhere after George Floyd was murdered. And I really started to look at, while we were asking, I don't know if you're familiar with We See You White America.
No.
So We See You White America happened in 2020. A group of actors, Black actors, and writers got together and said, okay, it's time that we stop standing for being pushed to the back of the bus. We're working under conditions that we don't agree with. We're being led by people who should not be leading us. So what do we do to fix this? So this group of people, and it spread out all over the country. It ended up being like hundreds of folks who got together and signed their names to this petition called We See You White America. And it was to say time's up pretty much. When we think about the Oscars and the Tonys and all these awards that continually, and the Grammys, that continually go to white artists who are doing the same work as artists of color, but the artists of color aren't being recognized. And we demand that plays go up written by Black playwrights, because the disparity between white playwrights and Black playwrights is humongous. And we can't expect to have work for Black actors if the work is not being written or if the work is not being published. So that started We See You White America. It was a list of demands that we as Black American artists make. And some of those had to do with, if we are working on a play written by a Black playwright and with Black actors, that we deserve to have Black representation on that set as well, as far as directors and as far as designers and costumers and hair and makeup folks who know what to do with us. So we asked White America to look at how they had been functioning for the last forever, right? But at the same time, I had to look at the work that I was doing. And I was proud that I could take a show with different strokes and reimagine the casting of it, to put Black actors in roles that were not traditionally ours, or roles that were unexpected and not stereotypical. And I was pretty proud of doing that, but I was still kind of missing what else I needed. And what else I needed was, I needed to do plays that I related to, plays that made me think about growing up, not plays that put words in my mouth that I would never say because my mama would knock me across the room. So we had to look at all those kind of things. And I decided I was just going to do, at least for the next foreseeable future, I just wanted to do plays written by Black playwrights. And that was kind of what started the Representation Matters. And that season, we did Dominique Morisseau, we did original works, and we did Having Our Say for the first time. It's the play about the Delaney sisters. And that was written by the Delaney sisters. So we added a lot of work to last year. And this year has been the same thing. We've got original works again, plays that have not been seen, not only in this region, but our world premieres. So really excited about what's coming up. Dear God, Juked. Those two plays are really exciting. To be able to do this with 369 Short Play and Monologue Festival is great. So in doing this, Different Strokes also created another nonprofit along with a good friend of mine. He's a white man, but he's very much like Steve. And so I appreciate him and what he knows, his knowledge. I appreciate the fact that he's also a playwright and an actor. And I appreciate the fact that he said to me, Steph, I can't be just another white man running a theater company. I've got to do something better. And we started a nonprofit that is just to support Black playwrights. So they get $1,000 for completing the work. Then we pay them for the rights of it. And we help them figure out how to get published and do all of that stuff. And we've got 2 plays right now that came from that are coming up in in this current season. So really excited about the work that we're doing to further promote not just Black actors, but also Black playwrights.
Wow. The language you use is really, really significant, because it's not just like talking the talk, but you followed it up by walking the walk. But you changed from ask to demand. And then after that, like the actionable steps were there. And we love white men like Steve, like white men out there, be like Steve.
Yes, I need a t-shirt. I want a t-shirt. Be like Steve. That's a good t-shirt. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been really enriching for me, and I finally feel like I'm doing what I was meant to do, and that people have been saying all the while that Different Strokes has been around, you make such a difference. I now feel like I do. I made a difference to white people who wanted to understand Black people, but now I feel like I'm making a difference to Black folks as well. So that's important to me.
You're doing it. You're doing it well. The nosy part of me is like, where can I get these tickets and when can I pre-order? Like, are they sold out?
You can let me know when you want to come and I'll hook you up.
Ooh,
And
say no more.
here's the other part of that. Because it's 15 pieces, I've set up the run where you can see all 15 pieces by seeing the show 3 nights. So all Thursdays are the same, all Fridays are the same, and all Saturdays are the same. And then on the last day, the 23rd, we have a best of. So the audience will vote during the whole run, and the top 3 monologues and the top 2 plays will run that Sunday.
Okay, we're gonna connect outside of the
Okay.
podcast. But I like to end each episode by asking our featured guests to drop some knowledge on us. So do you have any nuggets of wisdom to leave with our listeners?
Listen to your elders. I am now 60 years old, and I think about just all the growing pains that I might have saved myself if I had just listened to my elders. Things change and specifics don't always matter, but listen to them when they tell you. My mom's favorite saying is, you don't get no surprises, because I've complained to her about relationships gone bad and whatever. She said, you got red flags somewhere in that journey. You chose to ignore them. So in listening to your elders, specifically, I will say, pay attention to your red flags. And that's not just in relationships, that's in business ships, friendships, in anything we have to do with other people. Pay attention to your red flags. Don't be so in love and enamored that you let them go or avoid them.
I hope y'all caught that word, because I definitely caught it from the moment you said listen to your elders to the red flags. I was like, oh, okay. I refuse to believe that you're 60, but I'm gonna do what you said. I'm gonna listen to my elders.
Well, Steve almost didn't hire me because he didn't believe it. He called me looking for an actor, and he said, I need an older Black woman for my podcast. And I was like, when you say older, what do you mean? He said, like 50s. I said, Steve, how long have you known me? I said, I will be 60 in October of next year, because that was I think it was 20. I think I might have been 58 when I started that. But yeah, he almost didn't hire me because he didn't believe how old I was.
Hey, I mean, Black don't crack.
Black don't crack. That's if you take care of it.
True. Very, very true.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie. How can our audience stay in touch with you? What are your social media handles?
Pretty much, if you look up Different Strokes, you're going to find me on anything. To find out more about me, just put in my name. And for Different Strokes, just put in Different Strokes Performing Arts Collective. It'll try to come up with a TV show, but that's spelled differently. So
Got you.
You want Different Strokes Performing Arts Collective will take you to the website.
Thank you. And it's Different Strokes ! And then Performing Arts Collective.
Yes.
So y'all know, go with the right one. All right, y'all. Be sure to check out our show notes for more information about Stephanie Hickling Beckman and Different Strokes Performing Arts Collective, including information on how to make a tax-deductible donation to Different Strokes and how to get in on those tickets for Different Strokes' upcoming programs. Thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie.
Thank you, Nita J.
Peace and blessings, y'all.
Peace and blessings.